uh, with that other group as well. You'll see people running around with huge numbers on the top line sometimes, but they're not bringing anything to the bottom line. And I've seen schools that they're 20,000 square feet and they have 1,000 students under one roof. But then when you look underneath the hood, they're working their ass off 100 hours a week and they're making 48,000 a year. They'd be better off to go get a day job working at a grocery store or something. That's never what our mission is, and sometimes it's why it's so what's the right word, Master Smith, contrarian is, I look at it as you want to have the highest possible level of service to your students and the best possible outcome for them long term. And that's always got to be your highest priority. And you want to have the highest and most accelerated growth level for your staff. And that's, again, a very high priority. I was watching an interview once with Howard Schultz, founder of not
Starbucks.
of the coffee shops. Starbucks was a wholesale coffee company before Schultz came in. But his comment was about why they charge so much for a cup of coffee was, well, that's how we can pay our employees so well, and that's how we can provide health insurance, and that's how we can provide free college for them, and so forth. And part of the brilliance of Starbucks was McDonald's had a 300% per year turnover among employees, and Starbucks employee was there for a year and a half, 2 years. And it's talk about a difference in the level of service. Is if I mean this is they're still fast food if the average person's there, and they were there because they had a better working environment. They were being treated with more respect. They were making more money, and they had a growth pattern. They had a career ladder that they could pursue. Um, but beyond those two objectives, is I always look at it as it's like we want the least brain damage possible from your standpoint, a systemized operation that whether you go to Hawaii for a month or whether you're have a medical issue you have to deal with or anything else, it's going to keep clicking. And we want to have the highest possible net profit. And there's nothing at all wrong with having the highest possible net profit as long as you started with priority number one, which was to have the highest possible positive impact for your students, and priority number two, which was to create an incredible career environment and a lucrative career for your staff, and to make sure they have an operation that's as easy to run, as systematized as possible, and has an incredibly high net profit. And I became, you know, I wrote that 22 book years ago, and one of the first people to buy and read it was Greg Silva. And he made the comment because there's a chapter in there about him. It doesn't say it specifically, but the chapter's called "It Bigger Isn't Always Better." And he picked up the phone and called me. He said, "I just read your book, and I just read the chapter about me." And he said, "I wish somebody had told me at the time." I said, "Well, I tried, but it was about the fact that in Coral Springs, Florida, he had a school with 1,000 active students and the highest grossing pro shop anybody had ever seen, and was working 365 days a year. Literally, his best renewal day was Thanksgiving Day. I think maybe he took off Christmas. Maybe he's working 364 days a year, and he was working 100 hours a week. And the bottom line was pathetic. There was hardly anything left over. But I mean, he was getting national attention because he had a lot of students and sold a lot of crap. But you know, it again, as little brain damage as possible, a systematized operation that works with or without you having to be there every day, and the highest level of net profit, and all that is fine as long as you start with priority one, the highest possible service to your students, and priority two is making sure your staff has a lucrative and exciting career ladder, which may or may not include being with you forever, but an environment where you're developing them to the highest level.
And and that was a lesson that our our June Reed friends that went to Minneapolis learned that when they opened that big monster school, it was like a $50,000 a month overhead that they had to catch every month just to break even. And anytime you paint yourself in that kind of hole, it does make it a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah. I mean,
can I
and
just
go ahead.
can I make a request earlier on? I just I wanted to follow up with that ad that you wanted me to talk about. I put it on the Facebook ad over there or
Oh,
the
okay.
Facebook page. But we're doing that. I know you wanted me to follow up on some of the specifics of that ad. I got all those questions. So whenever you're ready, I can do that.
Sure, we can do that now. Bob, can you pull that up, or is Bob there?
Yeah, he's there. There he is.
I'm here, sir.
So
Yeah, let me
just
find it.
some feedback. There's two locations, one in San Diego, and their ad distribution is like 38,000 homes over averaging around 72,000 average medium income. And then that's what they choose. And then the one in Chula Vista is 48,000 distribution to homes. And they're all at least picked up by 72,000 household income or more. And so this is so essentially my ad is essentially going to all these places, and I can get it done in January. It was going to be starting, and I was going to start off with a full page ad, and they're about 750 a shot at each location, and I couldn't get the front page or the back page because it was already taken.
Right. What placement are they guaranteeing you?
Just well, it's any page in the book. They can't guarantee me
Not a
any
guarantee.
page. Yeah. So the only guarantee that they guarantee you is the special prime time location, which is an extra $100.
And for everybody, Sal, that is posting an ad on our Facebook page and wanting comments on it, make sure you list where this ad is going, what your target audience is.
Yeah.
Whether it's a direct mail piece, whether it's an emailed piece, whether it's a sign, whether it's cards to hand out at live events.
Yeah.
But each ad is a little bit different based on where you're going with it. Was it a newspaper? Was it a magazine? Was it a card or a direct mail piece?
Yeah, this is like a small direct mail piece. I think I showed it to you guys already last time. So anyways, this is our first rendition of it. And I think my only feedback is I don't know if I should just put my phone number on there, and it'll just be my number, and so I get it directly, and I'm the man to basically answer all of these calls.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of ways to do that, Sal. Nowadays, I mean, I had a lot of ads where we had, multiple different phone numbers on them. Um, I would rather have it be where you make the address, the locations very um, obvious, if that's the right word. But at the same time, if I'm going to have a QR code to respond, I'm going to have a phone number to respond. I'd rather have one phone number and one QR code that takes them somewhere where all of it works out. Um, and with apps like Ring Central nowadays, it's just super easy to have a phone number that then rings through to multiple different people, right? And on your question, Sal, on whether it should just ring to your phone, um, I
Yes.
guess it's a matter of how committed you personally want to be to answering the phone, 24/7, right? And the good thing about that idea is you'll know every call that comes in. The bad thing about that is, when you're having dinner at 7 o'clock at night, you're bound to have some phone calls come in, right? Um, Now, of course, you can solve part of that problem by you can always forward your phone, to one of the schools who's there capable of watching it.
Or power.
Um, I do like, and without getting it overly complicated, generally I like the idea of setting up something like Ring Central and then always ringing more than one phone at a time. so that if you miss it, it doesn't go to voicemail, it goes to somebody else. Um, the reversal,
Okay.
is tough always.
On the colors he's talking about.
Well, the fact that the background is black and the letters are something, in this case gold, but gold is readable against black, but a black background is usually less readable. So even on this blow up, I have trouble reading the testimonial and have trouble reading the locations and all of that kind of stuff, right? Um,
Some of that is size, word size too. I mean, obviously, develop your inner discipline and confidence is no problem, and the 2 weeks free is no problem, and the phone numbers are no
You have
problem.
vanilla? Vanilla?
But underneath it is different.
yeah. So
I have
uh,
the ads. I have the ads that I actually see. The actual magazine, and
yeah.
it's pretty readable. So I don't think that's an issue at all.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
yeah.
printed on slick paper, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Enamel. To nitpick a little bit here,
Yeah.
again, I'd rather have one website, one phone number, one QR code from the respondent, and sort them from there. So
Well,
however
can
you
I
want to,
respond back to that?
yeah,
Is because on Spark we have two different accounts on Spark, and so if a student wants to purchase the $49 special in Chula Vista, you got to go to the Chula Vista website because then that directs it to our Spark account that goes to our Chula Vista school. We don't want it to go to one school, then we're going to have to separate it again. So if you're really interested in East Lake, you should go to the East Lake account because then we know that your name and phone number is going to the East Lake Spark account. And that's how we bill you. That's how we do everything through Spark. And the same thing for San Diego was we didn't want everybody to go to San Diego and then say, oh, you're interested in East Lake. Then I have to delete that one, put you back into the East Lake account. So that's why I did that.
yeah. I think you're screwing with marketing to justify the way that a software has a deficit that you're trying to deal with. The, to me, that's looking at it backwards, right? I mean, I could overlay a landing page, and and have each of the locations, have two blocks. If you're interested in kids or adult programs in East Lake, click here. If you're interested in programs at our San Diego location, click here, and then it could take them into separate systems. But never mess up the marketing on the front end to accommodate deficits in software. Does that make sense, Sal?
Okay.
Okay. Um, because again, there's a number of workarounds where you can still, you could still have two separate shopping carts and all that kind of stuff, or you could have some other shopping cart if you wanted that. You choose San Diego or East Lake. Um, the On the locations, see, I'm a stickler for. I'd like to see what's the intersection that the East Lake School is at, or what's recognizable. If I live in that area, what would I recognize immediately?
Coles.
Okay, and is there an intersection of two streets where that's at?
No, it's beyond. It's like two or three blocks beyond it. So that's why I didn't use it.
Okay,
It's basically on, as you know, I own the building and it's on the intersection of Fenton and Lane, the
okay.
East Lake location. So nothing major.
So people would know Fenton, they might not know Lane. Is that right, or vice versa?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So if you put instead of a physical address, if you put at Fenton at Lane, 3 blocks south or whatever of Coles.
Mhm.
Now they've got a picture in their mind of where you're at.
Okay.
Maybe even if you, since you have space, a little map of here's where it is, or a picture, a picture of the school. Same thing on the other one. Um, whatever the cross streets are on the other one, is there something recognizable near there?
Well, I always tell them, hey, instead of making a left to go to SeaWorld, you make a right, and we're a block down the street,
So you're across the street from SeaWorld, or you're
near it. So when you exit off of the 5,
yeah.
you either make a left to go to SeaWorld, or you make a right, and we're 1 block down. So that's the main exit from 5 North or South.
Okay.
Yeah.
One block south of I-5, across from SeaWorld. I mean, something like that, where it
Yes.
immediately gives them the picture of where you're at. Because again, what most people are going to do is they're going to either call you or they're going to go to the website. They're not going to
Yeah.
put in maps and drive down to your location to respond. Um, but
I usually just text them anyway, the actual address and stuff, and then they like that because it just takes them there.
right, yeah, yeah. You,
Yeah.
you you send them a contact record, and then they can just map their way there.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
yeah, but on the ad, see what I want is a reaction of, oh, I know where they're at, or I've
Hmm.
driven by them 100 times, or well, I know where Cole's at, so I know where that's at. That's a
Yeah.
convenient location. That's the reaction I want.
Hmm.
So like our locations were always at 120th and or yeah, at 112th and Federal, at Kipling and Jewel Northeast Corner, um, 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 right next to Raceway University, just south of University and Dry Creek, behind Raceway Loop. I mean, something that was identifiable.
Okay.
Um, the what's on the back of this one?
No, it's just the front. That's like a one
Oh,
page.
this
There's
is
no
the this
back.
is the okay. This is
Yeah.
the entire
Yeah.
ad.
Yes. Yes, sir. That's it.
Okay. Um,
And then just to tell you a little bit about the $49 special. It used to be 4 karate classes and a uniform. And as you guys all know, 60 to 70% of them don't join. But when they do join, we give them an official uniform anyway. So what I tell them now is, instead of 4 karate classes, we're having some sort of a holiday special, whatever special it is. And instead of 4 karate classes, I basically change it up to unlimited karate classes for 2 weeks. So they still have 2 weeks. And I give them a t-shirt and then I tell them, hey, when you join anyway, I'll give you an official US Karate Academy uniform. And everybody generally says, all right, I'll take that one. So that's what we're doing.
okay. Say that again, because you confused me.
Okay, so on our website, we used to have the $49 special. It was just 4 karate classes and a uniform. The uniform, which is like your basic uniform with no patches. It's a trial uniform that you guys talk about.
Yeah, cost
Well,
12 bucks.
yeah. So, but a lot of them don't join. And then what are they going to do with that uniform? They don't do anything with it. I'd rather give them a t-shirt so that they can wear it out in public and advertise for us, instead of just, all right, I'm not going to wear this and I'm not going to do anything with it. So rather than doing a uniform, I'd rather give them an actual nice t-shirt that has our name and logo, and they could wear it almost every day. And then I basically say to them, when you do join, I give you an official U.S. Karate Academy uniform anyway, so you don't need the T-shirt. And as far as the belt is concerned, we just give them a regular white belt anyway when they do their homework and all that stuff on the second day. And it hasn't really changed the way parents see that, and they still will join because of the experience, not because they had the uniform. At least from my perspective, my take.
Okay, well, I guess the first thing I don't particularly like is having two offers, right? The 2 free weeks or the $49 special. I mean, you can have two offers in an ad, but they should be like kind of mutually exclusive, if that makes sense. Um,
Mhm.
I've had offers, which was you know um, um, free introductory lesson and 3 months free added to your program if you enroll, right? Or something.
Or
Three.
family, or something for family, and then something for something. Yeah.
Yeah. And just to check your logic, Sal, is one is we should be in the mode of 80% of the people who come in and and respond to any kind of ad enroll,
Mm.
right? Um, if you're doing a very highly promotional thing, I'm at the movie theater and one step below, I've got the big cane and I'm pulling them in, right? Almost against their will. Um, that's a different thing than somebody's responding to, you know, a paid advertising, a mailer, and so forth, right? So the conversion rate should be pretty high. I'll speak for, although feel free to argue with me on this one, Master Smith or Master Moody, but I give away uniforms like candy.
Yes, sir.
And the way I look at it, it cost me $12. And if 1 out of 30 is more likely to enroll because I gave them a uniform and they were wearing the uniform and they pictured themselves as a student and they were excited about it, and even if they feel guilty about I just gave them this uniform and they go home and they don't enroll, it's in the scheme of things, it's not going to make any damn difference, right? Because again, if it was an $80 wholesale cost Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu uniform, I might think differently about it. And some of the BJJ schools have started giving the cheap little karate uniform that practically falls apart in the bag as a freebie, and then when they enroll, they give them the expensive uniform. But so one on your logic, Sal, if you want to get a lot of T-shirts out with people wearing them, just give away T-shirts. That's fine. But I like putting them in the uniform. Now, I know Master Smith prefers, and again, speaking for you, Master Smith, he prefers that they get on the second lesson. And so I'm gonna, measure you up in one thing or another, and before your first regular class, we'll put you in a uniform. Neither one of those strategies, whether it's anybody who walks close to the school on the sidewalk, I'll practically give them a free uniform. Um, but whether it's either one of those strategies, you have to be coming back to the second lesson, you get it. Neither one of them has anything to do with them paying for the uniform. It has to do with they now start to feel like they're a karate student, right, or a jiu-jitsu student, or whatever it might be, by virtue of looking and acting the part. And I'm happy to go through as many uniforms as possible.
Master Oliver, if I could just interject one thing, I think a lot of people do the math wrong on that. They go, well, gee, I got 30 leads. That's going to cost me $360 for the uniform. Well, you can't give the uniform out to them unless they show for the damn appointment.
Yeah.
So if you have 30 leads from the ad and 20 of them show, that's a lot less that you're giving out anyway. But, your show rate's going to be whatever it is. So anyway, I'm just going to point out the math that sometimes people do like weird things about this, or they do a Groupon campaign. When we were doing Groupon and you get 100 leads, we go, well, I'm going to give them away this many uniforms. No, you only give them out if they show up for the actual, lesson. So anyway, your actual.
Well, I remember somebody I worked with years ago, nicest guy, but he's always kind of negative. And I actually did a thing where I went to his school and was working with his staff. And he made some comment. He goes, yeah, we've been getting way too many, I forget what the word he used for it, but it was a critical term. Way too many bottom feeders coming in to get free pajamas. It's like, free pajamas? What? Well, they're just coming in for the free uniform. And I don't think I've ever had anybody show up, drive down to the school because we're going to give them a uniform that wholesales for $12, right? I mean, it's not, it's it's not like I'm worried about it coming out of the bottom line. But I would hone in on one offer on the ad, and then really beat that offer to death, right? And either offer is fine. I mean, it could be $49 for 2 weeks or for 4 weeks. What was your point about the unlimited lessons, Sal?
Because our old special we had the old special, which was for karate classes and a uniform. And so I just wanted to say to them, hey, if, 4 is or unlimited is better than just 4. So that was my reason for that. And it was still the same time frame. It was just 2 weeks. So the students will feel like, oh, I could get more classes out of it. If I wanted to take as many classes, just to make sure that my son or daughter actually really loves it. That was my reason.
You're thinking that everybody that read your old ads are going to read your new ads and have some logical distinction between them.
No. This is on our website. I haven't changed it.
Right, but everybody on the website reading the old ads and going to read the new ads are going to have some logical distinction between them.
Yeah.
Well, while we're at it, Bob, pull up the website. Let's look at the website. So,
I mean, there doesn't need to be congruence between any of these things.
No.
At all. Your website could have one thing, the ad's a different thing, and it's all should depend on what your response rates are. There's not people. I mean, there's this idea that there's a group of people, and they're going to look through all your ads, and when you change your ads, they've somehow got to be congruent. Otherwise, somebody's going to have some kind of shock, or they're going to come into your school and have these 4 different ads, and they have some reaction, or the sales process is going to be messed up. None of that matters.
Yeah, that happens to me all the time at the car wash. I get this thing in the mail and it's half off, and other people are going into the car wash with $5 off. And I've never had anybody say, hey, how come his is half off and mine's only $5 off? It's because that's the ad I have and that's the ad you have.
It doesn't make, and if you had 3 ads, if you had 3 of those coupons, if Master Smith had a $5.50 off on a something, they'd say, oh, I don't know, which one's the best one? Okay, use that one.
Exactly.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Bob, how are you doing on pulling the website up?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and on $49 special, also having an offer or a value there going along with it, worth $350 or what have you. This is it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
To the left.
That's the ad right there on the left, the offer.
Well,
that's not the website. That's the QR coded. That's where he goes with the QR code. Are you talking about the website or where he goes with the QR code? Because that's the QR coded thing.
USKA San Diego. Is that where the QR code and the web link on the ad takes them?
Yeah. Yes, sir. So the QR code goes to the San Diego View QR code, that one, and then the Eastlake one for Chula Vista.
Okay. And then if Bob, can you play the video?
That just explains me talking about the $49 special, what we provide and all that.
I'm not sure where I'm getting audio. Could be because I'm screen sharing.
Is there a mute button on there?
There's no reason. I think
it shows the volume is that high, but maybe it's just not.
Oh.
Normally with screen shares, they don't share the audio.
Oh, there you go. See?
Yeah.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Yeah, Vanessa.
I haven't.
But anyways, the video basically talks about what,
Well,
what kind of classes.
You got a handsome spokesmodel there, Sal.
Yeah, I paid him a lot of money for
Look
that.
that top better.
Okay, so and so the video plays, and then what happens?
And then it talks about the $49 special that you could purchase.
Okay.
And then you can purchase to the left, and it'll say, "Hey, here's your kid's name." It's basically a Spark account. You pay the $49, and then what happens is I'll get a text, that says it'll go in the Sparks that says, "Okay, we have your name and information," that kind of stuff.
Okay, so Bob, fill out the form. Go back to the form.
Here, get started.
Yeah. Okay, click the scroll bar real quick. Select a cert. No, the okay. Go back up. Click on select a service. What's select a service give me? No, go down to the form you fill out. Full name,
Well-
email.
Yeah, go up under select a service.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so when you do that, I'll get a text that basically says, Jeff Smith, son name, Johnny, what group you're interested in, and I'll automatically
But
get that text.
you didn't pay here. That's just filling out the
Yeah.
name, address, and email.
Exactly.
So whether they
Yeah,
don't have to pay.
Okay, Bob, fill that out.
the one where you click on the other one, the $49 takes you to the Spark website where you do pay the $49.
Quick, get started today.
Let me know when you want to scroll down.
Yeah, just scroll down.
The 10
So
minutes
there
isn't actually.
So I
counting
just got Robert Test done on his thing. I just got the text.
Okay.
Yeah, we heard your little beep.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do I have a belt uniform sizing chart?
Yeah, that was old. I can delete that.
Yeah, keep going down. Oh, okay. So now I'm filling out the form
Right.
in.
again. Yeah.
Well, that's not. I think I don't know if you're paying for that right now. I think that's.
Yeah, it looks like it above it asks for the money. And
Yeah. So that's what if you're
number.
deciding to pay for the $49. That's another one.
Do you know what your completion rate is between the fill out the information sheet and they pay for the 49?
I don't know that, but when I talk to them, I tell them, how did you hear about us? If it was either a Google or a Facebook ad and stuff like that. So whatever ads, or if you saw us at the farmers market, and I'll tell them, hey, if you want to come in, you can try a free class, or you can do this $49 special that we have. And they usually will choose that. Some people will choose the 2 weeks free now, but either way, it's good. We get them in the door.
But okay. Yeah, but you don't know how many people actually fill out the form, the actual pay, and pay you $49 online.
Oh, well, I don't get a text that says, that they actually paid. I mean, I would have to go through Sparks and know how many people actually paid.
My guess is very few people actually pay the amount because they filled the name, phone, email, hit get started, and they probably
Actually, we do. We get a lot of people because we tell them it's easier for them to do it.
Right.
Online.
Okay.
That's after you direct them to do that. That's different.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Sal, what do you mean you tell them?
Well, so again, I get
Yeah.
a lot of these texts back to me, whether it's Facebook, and I get a text saying, this person's interested, and I'll call them right away within a minute or two, just like you guys suggested.
Yeah.
And I'll tell them, the offer, the Facebook offer is a week, because that was our old Facebook offer. It was just a week free, and that's twice a week. And then I tell them we have this $49 special. It's unlimited for 2 weeks with a uniform. And they usually will choose the 2 weeks, the $49.
Oh, okay. And then what happens?
And then I'll set them up with their first introductory lesson. And then they go through the whole process.
Okay, but are you sending them back to the website?
No. If they want to purchase the $49, I'll set up their first lesson. And then if they want to purchase the $49, I'll text them the USK San Diego or ChulaVista.com website. And I'll just tell them, let me know when you completed the purchase. They'll text me back saying it's done.
Okay. What's the advantage of that versus if I want to sell a $49 offer, I can go ahead and get you registered for the $49 offer now. Let me make sure I have your, I've got your phone number and your email address. If obviously those are right. Let me get your mailing address also. Fantastic. What credit card do you want to put it on?
I could do that, but generally they want to do it on their own time. And so I just text them their address or the the website, and I've never really had an issue. Or if they want to do it at the school, they could do it at the school. I just give them a choice.
Yeah, yeah.
Might give them a third choice. We can do it now.
Yeah.
Really, the only
And if-
reason to have anybody pay for that ahead of time is to improve your appointment show rate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, then there'd be no reason to do it at the school because they're already
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Right.
The only
We just take their credit card payments at the school. That's what we do, so that they will pay for it.
but now they're there, so we enroll them in
Yeah.
the basic program. We wouldn't want to do that then.
When are you doing if they come in for your $49 2-week unlimited, when are you doing the enrollment conference?
On that same day, if both parents are there, and they want to know all the information, so I tell them, we'll tell you when you guys come in on day one, and or usually on day two.
Okay. And when they do the $49, are you prepping them for, we'll apply this to your regular enrollment, or we'll give you additional?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we just say, the 325 payment will start 2 weeks after your $49 special is up. They'll pay the $400 today.
Say that again.
So when you join, you pay the $400 to enroll, right? And we usually take their 325 2 weeks from the day as well. We don't usually take both the $400 and the 325 today, especially if they pay the
He's not
$49
crediting
special.
them. He's not crediting them the 49. He's just letting them finish that and start their payment at the end of that.
Yeah.
He just takes the initial down, not the first month's tuition.
I think a lot of it, Sal, is a couple of levels of complication too much. Is it feels to me, and I don't have any issue whatsoever with them, getting them to, pay for a $49 introductory program. What I always do is just replace the new one with the old one, right? So, we're having the conversation of, normally it's $800 to enroll. If you want to go ahead and finalize your enrollment today, since you've already paid the $49, we give you a $400 credit for that. And then it's so it'd be $400 initially, and then the first month, so you get a $400 discount. So I just use that language. Now we're not worried about 2 weeks and applying it and starting after that, any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I actually don't worry about it, and the parents never ask me, what am I going to do with that 2 weeks? That's never been a question or
Yeah, except that your language was, we'll have the payment start after the 2 weeks. That's why I said that.
Yeah, so I don't normally start their payments until 2 weeks after, whether they purchase the $49 or not. So I just do it that way anyway. Like whether I just start the 2 weeks afterwards, because it's either they do the 2 weeks free or the $49. So I just start it 2 weeks later. I mean, I could start it today too, if you guys think that's better, but they never really argue over with me that I started 2 weeks later.
What, Sal, do you have good numbers on what your, how many people are showing up at the website? How many of them complete the prospect form? How many of them do the $49 special, and then first intro, second intro enrollment?
I don't have it on me, but I can figure it out. I don't.
Yeah,
I mean,
in general, people who've done the in general,
Yeah.
people who've done the $49 special, how many of them do you get enrolled?
I would probably say about 30%.
Okay,
Just as a guesstimate.
okay. That number should be closer to 75, 80%.
Okay. All right.
And maybe to be fair, if it's an inbound call generated from any kind of advertising, or if it's somebody who paid for an intro, of the people you talk to on the phone, 80 to 90% of them should make an appointment. 80 to 90% of them should show. 80 to 90% of them, when they show, should enroll. And when and that's a different ratio than, the analogy I was using of you're a carnival barker and you're kind of pulling them in with the hook at some live event. Those tend to be 50% of appointments show up, 50% of those who show up enroll, right? But you're getting on those, you're getting to them on your time rather than them seeking you out, right? Even if it's seeking you out because you showed up in their mailbox 12 times. So in Master Moody, it validates your assumption there. So I think you have a huge opportunity to simplify all these processes and dramatically improve your closing rate. So I would argue of these intros, the ones that went to the website, filled out the form, especially the ones that prepaid coming in. And I agree with Master Moody. The only reason really to have them prepay is to get a high show rate on the intro, because it does help. That, to me, that's the only place it helps on the paid intro. And again, even then, Groupon is a great example of, they have a huge breakage rate. So people buy stuff, a coupon for a restaurant or 2 weeks at the tanning salon or whatever it is that they never use. So you still have people who pay for it and don't use it. But it is the primary rationale for a paid intro. It would be great if we could ever get to the point of where our ads were, what direct marketers call self-liquidating. It costs us $300 to get them there, and they pay $300, and so we're at break-even day one. And I don't think I've ever seen that in the last 10 or 15 years. We're always pretty much always going negative to get an intro, and then if we can break even at the enrollment, we're happy. Does that all make sense? But I would think through the logic of this, Sal, and making the logic simpler is going to help a lot, right? Is you have an offer that is on the ad, and if you want them to prepay for the intro, that's fine. Sending them a link, as long as it takes them to a really simple page, to pay the money ahead of time, that's fine. But then when they get to the school, what I don't like about the language of unlimited classes is, to me, it encourages them to come in and take unlimited classes. I don't want any language that gets them more likely to think in terms of the 2 weeks rather than just enroll when I've decided we like you. Master Media, what would you add to that? I'm not articulating it very well, I don't think.
Well, no, I think key thing is the Bruce Lee idea is simpler. It's daily taking away and simpler for two things. One is it's easier to train you and your staff. Second is because Master Oliver, you said it really, really well. I really ingrained this from long years of us talking is people that are confused don't buy. So when we complicate the explanation, just the confusion of them not understanding it makes it harder for them to make decisions. And part of our challenge for everybody on the call is that you guys all understand what you're explaining. You guys all understand the math and you're giving them 2 weeks, and then they get the 2 weeks, and then they get to pay the thing at the end of the 2 weeks and all that stuff. You guys understand all that because you know what you're talking about, and you're doing this more than once. This is the first time and only time they've ever heard this.
I bet new staff doesn't understand it.
What's that?
I bet new staff doesn't understand.
Oh, yeah, new staff doesn't. Imagine you're for any of you who've trained a staff member to explain the sale process, and for some of you guys, I think, and Sal, I think in some of your cases, you're the only one that does certain parts of the process. We talked the other day about doing the renewals, and you're the one that does the renewals. Well, imagine training the staff to do these things. Well, if you can't train your staff to do this in a day or so, well, then it's pretty hard for a new person walking in to understand your explanation about the financial part of it. And then you give us the excuse, I'm sorry, we're calling it that, people are objecting on price. Well, I think a lot of times they're really objecting on confusion. So we got to be really careful about mistaking objecting on price with objecting on confusion. And the simpler you can make it, the better. The other thing I'll tell you is, from all the data that I've seen with all the work I've done with web marketing, because I've seen hundreds of websites now at this point, in the martial arts business, this is different from kickboxing or certain other types of lead generation. Paid offers will dramatically, on the front end of a website, will dramatically reduce your lead gen. Now, that's not necessarily true of other types of advertising, like a coupon or a marriage mail or certain types of advertising. I think paid offers can work really well. I'm not discouraging anybody from using paid offers in marketing, but generally for website and all of our testing, there's been a couple exceptions. When we tested it, free offers are working better than paid offers. Even though we get the question, Master Oliver and I always get asked, well, what's the best offer to use? Well, we got to test it to figure out what the best offer is. But free offers are going to work better at the lead gen part. Sending them back to the website to pay for an offer rather than doing it on the phone, as Master Oliver is suggesting, is usually much better. And the only purpose of them paying for the offer is so that they show up for the appointment. But I would recommend simplifying that process a little bit and focusing on your phone call being an appointment show, or setting an appointment first, and then maybe asking for the payment afterwards. So I don't know what other comments you were thinking of there.
I do. I set up their appointment first. So I do that. And then
I figured you did that, Sal,
yeah.
but I just want to make sure it's clear for everybody on the call
Yeah.
in terms of the way the process would work. And
I just to clarify your thought, I do set up an appointment and then I say, hey, we have this, and either one works fine with us. You can choose whatever you like. So I think it's pretty simple.
I still don't understand I still don't understand the difference between 2 free weeks and $49 offer.
Yeah, and I think you're making it more complicated right there.
So take out the $49 special is what you're saying?
No, I take out the 2 free weeks. If you're going to do a paid offer on the call, you set the appointment, you confirm the appointment, you make sure they're going to show and say, by the way, if you want to get started, we have the special and it's 2 free weeks and we can take your payment for that now. Take the payment for it. The only reason you're doing that is not to get them to do an offer, is to get them to pay some money so that they show for the appointment.
Yeah. Did in your mind, do you care whether they do 2 free weeks or $49?
No, I just want them to come in.
Okay, right. Yeah, I mean, that's the right answer.
Yeah,
and
the 2 free weeks doesn't help that.
Yeah, yeah, and I just don't get why give them a choice, right? Is, the introductory program. I mean, my conversation with on the inquiry is always the same. We have a special introductory offer, gives you a chance and your child to come in and take a couple lessons with a black belt instructor. You're going to learn about the benefits of the program, see the facilities, learn more about what we do, and see if it's a good fit for your family. Well, that doesn't have anything to do with you get to come into unlimited number of lessons and all that stuff, or all these other things, right? It's just the introductory program is only for you get to come in, see the facilities, learn about the benefits of the program, and decide if it's a good fit for your family. Because that really is all it's about, right? And so when I'm having the conversation, if you want to do a $49 offer, is have a real clear explanation. We have a $49 trial program. What it does, it just gives you a chance to come in, meet the instructor, see the facilities, learn more about the benefits of the program. Your son's 7, it'll give him a chance to interact with the instructors and see if it's something that he likes and wants to do, and if it's something that you think will be of value for him. It includes the uniform and includes the first couple of weeks of lessons. And then take a credit card, or if you want to text them a link, whatever, it's fine. To me, Master Moody, the website was extremely confusing.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think both the offer section was really confusing. When you go to the QR code should go right to the form. And then the video is probably good, although we didn't get to hear the video, but the video is probably good, but it should just have the form right there. And then the website itself was very confusing, but that's a separate thing. that we would need to go over. I think we're going to have Tracy on one of our calls too,
Yeah.
go over some websites.
Anytime it fits into his schedule, I want to do two separate ones with him.
Yeah, we're going to get him there. We just got to, I think you and he have been texting about getting him in the calls, but
No, but you say it occasionally, and I remember, and it's on my list. And
but what you always want to do, is probably good for everybody to hear. If you ever do like just a landing page for not your website, but just a landing page for something like an offer, that's a good idea. But what you don't want to do is have a landing page that then they have to click somewhere and go somewhere and do something else and do something else. It is never a good idea. What you want them to do, if it's a specific offer, like let's say you have an after-school enrichment program and they have to register online like we did during the pandemic because it was online, they would land on the page and everything they need to know and fill out and do is right there. So think about that, just less barriers, which is exactly congruent with what we're talking about. Simple, make it simple so they can get right to the point.
Yeah, and I want it to be a grease shoot. I want it to be, I do step 1, and then I do step 2, and then I do step 3. And I never want anything on there that confuses them, right? So, and I see schools that have their complete class schedule on there. Well, no, I don't want that. And, you know, and again, like the difference between saying 2 lessons a week or unlimited, well, maybe I hear I have to come every day and I don't have time to do that. Or I look at the schedule and I figure out I'm looking for beginners classes and there's 6 of them. Oh my goodness, I can't do that. There's all kinds of different ways for people to get confused and or draw the wrong conclusions. So I always want to be careful about that. To wrap up on this, we could go back to the ad real quick, Bob. Is all of us, you know, love our logos and our artwork and stuff. In almost all direct to, you know, the cold public, is it gets in the way rather than it's helpful, right? So be careful of artwork, of image, and so forth. And I think what a lot of us do is we look at Coke and Pepsi and so forth, and we think, you know, in this case, I'm going to brand our black and gold. And I don't know how many, you know, I don't know how many millions of dollars I've spent in advertising in the Denver metro market. I wouldn't hesitate to guess without sitting down with a calculator, but, you know, let's say, you know, well over 3 million.
Ladies, who was back first?
We got Jan.
We're going to
Who was
mute you,
back
Jan.
first?
Jan, we're muting. There we go.
Yeah. I don't know who was back first, but if you go back to this, see all the stuff with the logo and the flying kicker and all that stuff, for the purposes of the ad, that's pretty much just wasted space. And I can't tell what it says down below that. Owned and operated by world champion and U.S. Naval Academy graduate, and it says something else.
It's the offer $49.
It's the $49 trial offer for introductory lesson and 1 T-shirt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
On the overall graphics, if it were me, I would get rid of one of the photos, and I would get rid of the one that they're holding weapons in their hands.
Okay.
And I would build in more copy. I would make the response mechanism cleaner. I would get rid of the yin yang logo and the kicker logos. And if you wanted the bio stuff in there, there's, you know, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with the bio stuff. I'll just tell you, it doesn't spark response because people mostly don't know anything about it. It's the ones who are interested is building a more complete bio on the website and building a more complete bio on pieces that you give them out. Is you'll find 1 out of 20 are interested in that. And in your area, you know, the Naval Academy grad thing probably resonates with a pretty good percentage of the San Diego population just because of the huge naval presence there, right?
Yes.
So there's certainly nothing negative about it. But if it were me, I would take the offer, put it in the right quarter panel. So I would put it in a coupon box where it was obviously like a coupon offer. I would choose one. If it was a $49 special, I would bullet point the hell out of it. $49 introductory special includes um, 2 weeks of unlimited classes with a black belt instructor, a semi-private class with a certified black belt instructor, an official $50 value martial arts uniform. I would, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, complete personal evaluation with a black belt instructor. So different points on what the hell that means, right? I would put it in a coupon border, and then I would make the locations really obvious. So it's at the corner of this place and this place, 3 blocks from Kohl's, a block across the street from SeaWorld at the exit of 95 and whatever you said, and make that real clean. And then I would build in more copy about benefits of the offer. And testimonials, good. You could build in a couple, maybe 2 testimonials and more body copy about the school. An ad like this, Sal, it's kind of like the way you have it designed, it's kind of like a pay-per-click ad. Maybe it's a good example. Is people who are out looking for martial arts lessons are going to respond. Mom, who has been in the back of her mind to do, to get her son in karate or something, or her daughter in gymnastics or something, will respond. But if it wasn't already in their mind to begin with, this doesn't get them very far down the path of showing them why it's something valuable. Is building more body copy. And if you look at that ad, that was our #1 ad for years. I mean, I used it for years. That karate's the best thing I ever did for my child. And then it has the body copy and then the bullet point of free, 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 free. Look at that ad, because that's more, if it were me, more like what I would be putting in to this kind of environment. But again, I mean, you could stick with the headline or go with something a little bit stronger. Do one photo, get rid of and you want your name in there, obviously, but the yin yang thing doesn't help you. So, United States Karate Academy at the top of the bullet points, or on the where they're responding, one QR code, one phone number, one website, better directions on where exactly the school is located, with a powerful call to action, and preferably time limited. So, if this thing mails on February 20th, maybe you give it an expiration date of 6 weeks, or you can go, weasel word expiration, only available for the first 20 people who respond, or something like that. But you always want some level of urgency on things like this.
So if we're going to do it on a monthly basis, should I make it expire at the end of the month of each month?
Yeah, maybe give it 6 weeks from when it's likely to hit.
Okay. Because we're doing this every month for the next 12 months.
Yeah.
You may not have to go 6 weeks. I mean, you could go less.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only thing, you don't want it to like show up in somebody's mailbox, the first time they look at it, the offer's already expired.
Yeah.
Right. If it was in a magazine, I'd go a little longer deadline than if it was a freestanding postcard, and this is sort of in between. Plus, they probably bulk them, so I don't know if the date in the mailbox, if they have much control over it. So, if there's a 2-week window versus there's a 2-day window, that changes the dynamic.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You bet. Okay, thanks, Bob. Master Moody, Master Smith, I'm going to turn it over to you. I've got to run across town here real quick.
Okay. Well, I think that was really useful for everybody. I'm hoping you're getting some guidelines about, and I hope it was useful for you, Sal, but I hope everybody's getting some guidelines about the general rules about ad design and about the sales process and everything. One thing that's really important is to understand that the marketing that you do is should be disconnected from your sales process. In other words, if you do an ad if your ad works really well on a mailing piece that's $49, and your website has a 2-week free offer, and you've got a whole bunch of different offers going on, and they all work really well in the media that they're being used in, your staff should be able to handle whatever offer comes in. And I always train my staff, if the karate school across the street has an offer for $89 for 4 weeks, they can handle that. If the guy across the street has an offer for 3 weeks free and a free uniform, they can handle that. No matter what the offer is, it makes no difference. And I don't even care if it's our offer, our staff can handle that. So what I end up hearing sometimes is, well, I'm doing this offer because when they come in, it's easier to do the sale. And you shouldn't really be too susceptible to whatever the offer is based on whatever your sale process is. Now, that being said, I mean, it is a little bit easier if if the offer was 4 months free, that makes the sale a little bit more complicated. You got to figure out how to do it. If the offer is a Groupon, you have to tweak it a little bit in the transition process of your sale, but you should be completely immune to the offer based on your sales process. And if you're not, then that's a separate conversation we should talk about. If you have any questions about that, now's a good time to ask. And we can talk about how to do that. We've posted some videos on doing closings based on those different types of sale processes, but pretty much they're the same no matter what. It doesn't matter what the offer is, you're going to do the sale the same. They get some kind of discount or application of the coupon towards the basic program to enroll that day, or to enroll at the second lesson when you're presenting the price. Whenever you present the price, that's when they get the discount because they're exchanging the coupon for the price. And that's it. So you guys should make sure that you keep those two things separate and keep good track of your numbers and everything. Okay, guys? So what other questions do you have or do you want to cover? Because we've got about 26 minutes left, because Master Smith is going to
I have some things that I need to cover, Master Moody. So maybe we can save the questions so we can get a little bit of the what we needed to cover today.
Okay.
And then save those questions for the last of the meeting to make sure that we get these things that we have prearranged that need to be covered.
Okay. What do we have prearranged? I didn't know you had some stuff there, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, sir, I did. And what I wanted to talk about today was marketing in general. What I found with a lot of the schools is they get so busy in their day-to-day operation that they don't commit their marketing to a calendar. In other words, you don't have 15 or 20 things that are set up this month. You're just taking, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that arbitrarily rather than by design. Vanessa, can you hear me there? I see your head's back up. I wanted to use Tim Harrison as an example because I know last year maybe they weren't committing to the calendar as much, but I know this year, 21, that all their marketing is done on a calendar, and they've got, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's a 3-month calendar, or on the board in the office there, the 4-month. Okay. And on these 4 months, they're writing all of these marketing things that are happening. And because of that, I feel, and again, it's the catalyst for making this happen is that they've averaged about 25 enrollments a month this year. Is that number about right, Vanessa?
Yes, sir. Last month was a little less than the whole average. So kind of brought our average down to like 22, but I guess that's still good.
And tell everybody about all these things that you're committing to, because you really have to, it doesn't really matter on your marketing as long as you do enough of the stuff, it's going to work. The problem, what everybody ends up doing is just waiting for that one home run that they can do that month to get all their enrollments off of. And that bombs sometimes. Sometimes you have something set up, and I know it's happened to me on numerous occasions where our big county fair that was happening, we always got 30 or 40 enrollments off of it. So we didn't do much else that month. And then when the fair came, there's the big thunderstorms and it rained that whole weekend and nobody showed up at the event. So it kind of bombed. So, sometimes you're at the mercy. So that's why you've got to have internal marketing things. You've got to have external marketing things. And then you've got to get your internet marketing things. Now, of course, your marketing is not going to work unless you have good numbers. And when I say good numbers, unless you're following our guidelines on how many leads you get, remember those numbers that you should be comparing to see if where you need work or what we call holes in the bucket. Start with your leads. And if you have 100 leads, then how many appointments should you make out of that? Well, we know that you should have at least 80 or 90% of those make an appointment. So 80 or 90 out of 100. We know that how many of those should show up? Well, we know 50 to 60 of those should show up. And out of those 50 or 60, then we should enroll 25 or 30. And those are kind of like what we call as our norm. Some do better than that. Some don't do quite as good as that. And the way to get the number that you want on the enrollments is by controlling the number of leads you're getting. If your percentages are down a little bit, it might mean that you might have to have 150 leads to get that 25 or 30 enrollments. But if you're keeping good stats, then you'll know where you're not hitting the right numbers on your percentages. And if you're not, then you can then work to correct those things, or we can share with you how to correct those things, because each one requires a little bit different action to improve the percentages of them. But if we don't even know, if we just know you got a lot of leads and you don't have any enrollments, we don't know what the real problem is unless you have those statistics. When we're talking about marketing, some schools get in what we call a catch-22. They want to market more, but they don't have enough extra money to do the marketing, or they have a limited budget on the marketing. And we know that when it comes to marketing, nothing is free. So it's either going to cost you in dollars or it's going to cost you in time. Well, if you're short on finances, then you're going to have to invest more time into your marketing. And that means that I'm going to have to do more of those grassroots marketing. Master Oliver and I did about 3 hours of grassroots marketing that will give you 50 or 60 ideas. Just go to that video on our quick start link and watch it, and then just write down the things that you would like to do. And I don't even care what it is, as long as you have 15 or 20 things that you're going to do. When we talk about internal marketing versus external marketing, we're talking about doing some internal events, doing some buddy days, doing some birthday parties, doing some things that will initiate getting your students' friends to come in to see the school. Sometimes some of the schools are doing parents' night out. I know Paul Pendergrass did a movie night during the summer where he had the blow up. And I know Paul was on here earlier. I don't know if he's still here or not. But those kind of things where your students can bring a friend and you can get them engaged. And then when they come, you give them the guest pass for 2 weeks free, and then set the appointment right then. Birthday parties, doing them, all of these marketing ideas that we say, they've all worked for somebody. The ones that it doesn't work is because they're leaving things out. Master Moody put together a great birthday party checklist on how to make sure you're doing all the steps that's on our Quick Start program. You got to make sure if you're going to do a birthday party and you're not getting enough intros or appointments out of those birthday parties, then make sure that you review back through how to do all of these different marketing things, whether it's a birthday party or buddy day, or any of those internal things. But what I find is that I was talking to one of our new Mile High schools that's only been open for a couple months, and they didn't have many leads last month. And then I started asking them how many activities they had going. And you could count on one hand how many things that they did. And if you're only doing 3 or 4 things, then you can't expect to have 100 leads. You know, sometimes we get lucky like Ken Gibson, and he goes out and does a movie theater and gets a couple hundred leads in one weekend. Well, that doesn't come around all the time. But we're going to make sure that we have, as Master Oliver calls it, his Parthenon of marketing, that there's so many things that you can do. What I found with a lot of schools is, like I was talking about Vanessa, is that a lot of schools don't have a calendar to put that to. They just say, okay, yeah, next month we're going to do some school program, or next month we're going to do a live event, or next month we're going to do a buddy event, or we're going to do a direct mail thing, or we're going to put out bandit signs, or we're going to do rack cards, or, you know, they come up with all these ideas, but they never get put to a calendar. And if you look at your calendar, and you should have a marketing calendar, there's your first mistake. If you don't have your marketing calendar, if you haven't been able to put your annual marketing plan down, because an annual marketing plan, all you have to do is start with getting this month's marketing plan, and then next month, and then eventually you work into, like Vanessa, with a 4-month marketing plan. And then you just keep adding these together for 1 year, and then you've got your marketing plan for next year. And next year, it'll be these same things you did the year before, plus new things that you'll be coming up with. But when you look at all of these different ideas, some of them maybe won't work this year that worked last year. That's okay. Then you come up with something else. And if you put this, and what I mean by put it to a calendar, it's exactly, what am I going to do today? Which of my marketing things am I doing today? Am I putting rack cards out today? Maybe today I'm ordering the rack cards, or maybe today I'm ordering the bandit signs. Maybe today I'm putting out the rack cards, but I have to every day be doing something. You know, you've heard the expression, always be marketing. And I tell you, once you get the marketing going, that's the hardest part. The easy part then is to start converting those numbers. By keeping good stats, we'll know exactly where you need to improve your numbers. Jan, how valuable is it when you look at how many leads you've gotten from different sources, and then you can see how many of those pan down through, and you got the number of enrollments that you wanted? Or let's say you didn't get the number of enrollments. You know, how do you go through analyzing that down by looking at your stats versus not having those stats to look at?
Super important. So, and for as much money as we spend too, you've got to know what's working and what's not.
And for you people that are spending your dollars, just like Jan and the other schools that are spending their dollars, which I'll spend those dollars all day as long as I'm getting the return on that investment. So what kind of stats do you have to keep, Jan, to make sure that you're getting your money's worth on that marketing?
We try to keep stats of everything, as far as like which booth is best, which flyer is best. We keep stats on everything so we know, even including, like you said, the weather and all that, because in the summer here doing booths, it's just so hot, not a lot of people go. So we need to know that ahead of time so we know who to send to the booth and how much energy to put into it and all that kind of stuff.
And how much you're spending is how much you're getting back on that. You know, if last month I spent X amount of dollars, well, I don't just throw that money down like it's a crapshoot. I then have to go back and analyze last month, because, you know, remember, you're only as good as your last movie. So you could have had a tremendous record month last month and this month fall on your face. And I'll tell you, most of the schools who have a record month, it's usually followed by a terrible month. That's because they tend to relax, thinking that they've got it all figured out. And if you can jump on that right away and look back at last month and say, okay, this is how many dollars I spent. This is how many leads I got. This is how much it cost me per lead. Some people are good enough that they can break it down into where they put that money. And each one of those can tell you which one was the best return on your investment. You know, did I spend $100 for each lead from Facebook, but then I did a direct mail thing and I only got 10 leads out of it, but it cost me $500. So then it cost me 50. See, you have to know those kind of numbers, because the reason Master Oliver has that window of your down payment and your initial payment and your first month's tuition to be at least $400 to $600 is that gives you a big marketing window. See, if I'm getting about $500 from each new student that comes in, and I get 10 enrollments off of that, then I know that I've got an extra $5,000. If I did 20, I got an extra $10,000 that just came in from those enrollments. And so if I had to spend $2,000 or $3,000 on marketing to get those 10 or 20 enrollments, was it worth it? Well, yeah, I could do that all day, because if I got 5,000 off of 10 enrollments, well, that means I'm going to get another probably 15,000 or more, depending on what your monthly tuition is. At $300, they're going to spend another $3,000. So that's another $30,000 that they could spend over the course of the year, not even counting the renewal. So you see, when I'm talking about marketing, what should I do? If I talk to any school one-on-one and they say, I need help with my enrollments, because you're either having 15 to 20 enrollments or more, or you're having 10 or less. If you have 10 or less, then you're not marketing enough. And I don't care what you are doing, it's not enough, because you've got to be in that 15 to 20 or more enrollments per month for your school to be growing. If you keep your retention, how important is that retention versus enrollments, Jan, at your school? When you have a 2 or a 3% dropout versus a 5 or a 6% dropout, what does that do to your enrollments?
It's huge. Our enrollments have to go way up when we lose that many people.
And a lot of people don't know even how to look at that. They don't know last month. It's not how many enrollments I got. It's how many net enrollments I got. You know, sometimes it's not how much money the school grows. I have to know that, but how much did I spend? Did I spend more than I got in, or did I get in a lot more than I spent? Well, that's the same thing with knowing your net enrollments every month. I have a lot of schools who don't even know what net enrollments are. They say, what do you mean by a net enrollment? Samuel, what would net enrollments mean to you?
So net enrollments are the enrollments that you got, subtracting the students that you lost for that month.
Amen.
And how can we track that, Delfino? How do we know how many we lost? Delfino, that was for you.
At the end of the month, anyone that's been absent for 4 weeks or longer, we take out from the student count.
And that's the simplest process. You know, we found all kinds over the years. Master Oliver and I both have tried all kinds of things, and nothing beat that 3-card box system. Because at the end of the week, the cards that are left in box 1 didn't come in that week. And then all we do is take those out and put them in our dropout box in the office and it said that they missed for a week. So our box in the office has a 1 week divider, a 2 week divider, a 3 week divider, and then the last one is 4 weeks or more. If they're in 4 weeks or more, I'm not counting them as an active student. I call it my 3 strike, just like baseball. I got 3 strikes to get them back in there. If they've missed a week, my job is to get them back in there before they go into strike 2, which is 2 weeks missed. And then if they go into week 3, then that's strike 3. You're probably out. They're probably going to be a dropout. So even in baseball, they give you 3 strikes. So we started that little 3 strike system. You got 3 shots at them. You got 3 weeks to get them back in there. And if you can't get them back in 3 weeks, then we know they're probably going to be a dropout. Now, we don't give up on those 4 week people. We're still, call them, text them, or email, but we've got to focus mainly on the 1, 2, 3 to make sure that they don't end up in that 4 week pile. Because it's much harder to cure the dropout than it is to prevent the dropout. It's always the prevention versus cure. And when they've been gone for 1 week, we know that they've been infected, and we've got to get them cured right away before they get infected completely with that dropout syndrome, right? So you see where things go into play with marketing versus putting it to a calendar to know my stats, to see if I'm getting the most bang for my buck on those leads. Am I going to normal percentages like we say you should be doing, or are my percentages way off? And if my percentages are way off, then raise your hand at these meetings and say, look, I'm getting this many leads, but I'm only getting 50% of them to make an appointment. I might be saying that I have 80 or 90 make the appointment, which is good, but then I only have 30% of them come in for the intro. And then we can discuss how to improve that. You see, all those things have to be looked at to see where the mistake is made. But where the mistake is made sometimes is I just didn't get enough leads. I didn't get enough leads to even look at the numbers to see how good they were, because even if I have only 30 or 40 leads, even if my percentages are high, I'm still not going to get the enrollments that I want. And then for you people that can spend dollars on marketing, then make sure that you're doing a cost analysis on how much is each of those enrollments getting you. And if you're spending X amount on it, if you're getting more on the down payment, which should be in the $400 to $600 with your first month's tuition and down payment, then I have that much money. I can double down and increase my spending on the marketing if I'm getting the return on that investment. But even if I'm getting 15 or 20 enrollments, if I'm losing 10 or 15 students each month, then I'm spinning my wheels. I'm not getting any, my school is not growing. And that's why we have to keep our active count on a weekly basis. The simple process of that is if I count my active count on December 1st, and then on January 1st, I do an active count. I then take December 1st, add in all the enrollments from December, and that's how many people should be there January 1 if nobody dropped out. When I take my actual number and then I can see how many people actually dropped out, then I can calculate what my percentage of dropout or my retention was. Everybody understand? So these are the basics that you guys have to know how to do to control your enrollments. Questions on any of that stuff? Is this making sense to everybody? And if you haven't committed it to a calendar, you're not really marketing. You're just arbitrarily grasping, I call it grasping for straws. desperation. Plan, get your plan and then work that plan. So I'll open it up if there's any questions on that stuff that I just talked about. Master Moody, anything you want to add on any of that stuff I talked about?
No, sir.
Then now let's go back to your questions, Master Moody. If you want to open it up for any other questions or anything.
Well, we have about 2 minutes. So does anybody have any other questions of things you'd like some help with to kind of wrap up? I wanted to also mention that don't forget our schedule coming up is going to be, we won't have meetings on the 21st or through the rest of the year, but we'll be starting back up on the 4th. And we're going to have the 2022 calendar figured out pretty soon, we hope, for the live meetings and our other stuff. Any other questions that you guys got to kind of wrap up today? No? Okay.
Mr. Smith, are you going to do a paid in full contest again this year for December?
I'm working that all up right now and getting ready to put it up on our member site. And it's going to be pretty close to what we did last year. How did you finish last year in that contest? I know Jan was I think if I remember correctly, Jan was our big winner on that one. Because I think she finished her December with 150 something thousand. Is that right, Jan?
I think it was
You muted, Jan.
157, I think.
Yeah, okay, see, she's not gonna let me get away with 150. Let's go all the way to 157. And was your paid in full total like 40 something or 30 something? Do you remember that?
Remember.
See, I remember better than you.
You do. I don't remember.
How did you finish in that, Hildeston?
I was like second or third, and I already ran 15,000 this month so far. So that's why I was a little asking about the contest.
It's going to count. Everything in December is going to count. And it looks like that Stephen Del Castello has got a big jump on everybody already because he did 30,000 yesterday. And I think, Vanessa, I think you guys were in the running for the top 5 last year. Who else was in that running last year?
Wasn't Delfino in there?
Yeah, Delfino was in there. And I think he finished in the 20s. Was that about right, Delfino?
Yes, low 20s.
You see how I can remember all this stuff because that really, to me, it's one of your easiest low-hanging fruit that if you want to jump your gross, what's the biggest thing that we can do? And so what we'll do, we'll spend a little time, maybe 15 minutes next week on the meeting and talk about how to get those paid in fulls a little bit better and hear from a couple schools on how they were able to do it and give everybody some tools to hit some of those big numbers.
Sounds good.
Okay, well, that's all I have, Master Moody.
Guys, all right, well, we will see you next week.
Okay, thanks, guys. Thanks, Bob.
Bye.